My name is Randy Stevens. I am the Pro Health Peer Support. I work with individuals seeking recovery and change, and I help them through their journey. Around the age of 7, I experienced abuse on another level that lasted for about 7 years. Most people didn't know that I was suffering the abuse that I was. My only coping skills were drugs and alcohol at that time. When I was 23, I found recovery for the first time. I thought that, handling my addiction, I was good, everything was fine. What I wasn't dealing with was the trauma that lay underneath. Around the age of 28, I found out that my ex-wife was pregnant with my youngest child, and that sparked something in me that gave me the motivation I needed to stop altogether. And within 2.5 months, I was done. My ex-wife continued to use. In September of 2018, she was arrested. Shortly after that, my kids were taken by DCYF. At that time in my life, my whole identity was being a father. I didn't have anything else. I ended up relapsing for about 1.5 months. I was homeless, living from abandoned house to, a couch if I could stay on somebody's couch. Leaving an abandoned house in Rochester, late October, early November 2018. It was the coldest fall that I've ever experienced. It was raining, 36 degrees. I was walking out of there and I remember thinking, God, just kill me now or help me get through this. I need something different. I can't live like this. Shortly after, got in touch with family, got in the hospital. I was meeting with this doctor who kept coming in every day or so, and she was encouraging me. She was telling me that I looked better and I looked healthier, and it gave me a lot of encouragement. When I walked out of the hospital, November 20th, 2018, I never went back to drugs. December 7th, 2018, my little girl was born. She was born to a sober father. She's never known anything different. I'm proud of that. 30 days after I'd gotten sober, the federal government decided to take me off the streets for crimes I had committed earlier in the year. I remember sitting in Stratford County booking and thinking that I had 2 choices. I could wallow in self-pity and start using drugs again, or I could use every minute of my incarceration to change and become the man I was supposed to be. I really went through a lot of meditation, a lot of prayer, a lot of finding myself and figuring out who I was and who was the real person beneath all of the facade that I've put up. I realized in that journey that I was a person of love and kindness, and that I didn't want to do drugs because I liked the feeling. I wanted to do drugs because I didn't like what I felt like without them. And when I started to learn to love myself and love being in my own skin, I didn't need that anymore. And during that journey, I began an AA group. At one point, we had up to 15 men doing a mutual aid support group. And that's where I really realized that I loved the feeling of being a part of somebody else's journey. When I left the prison, I was brought to the halfway house in Manchester. And within about a month of being there, a friend of mine called me and said that the mental health center was looking for a peer. I ended up reaching out to Margaret Almeida, who was the director at the time of Pro Health, and she set up an interview. And when I met her, she was very excited that I had all this lived experience. And I was thinking, like, you want to pay me to share this with other people? Okay, that sounds awesome. Let's do it. I learned that everything that I'd been doing this entire time I was locked up was honing my skills to do this for the rest of my life. I want to help people. I want to be a peer. I want to encourage people to go through a similar journey that I went through. I remember working with this one lady, and the first time we sat down, we meditated together, and then we began walking. She turned over and looked at me and said, "Thank you." And it was so sincere, it brought tears to my eyes. I was like, she had never had somebody sit down and go through an exercise like that with her. She spent her entire life seeking therapy, and people were telling her what to do, but no one was doing it with her. And that, for me as a peer, is the difference.
So how's your life going today?
My life's amazing. Just the other day I was took a walk with my daughter in the parking lot of my church. The way the sun's casting our shadow, I see her little 3-year-old body with mine. We're holding hands, and it was just like, I was so present with her. And I think that the life that I lived up to that point gave me a different perspective. When I see something like that, I appreciate it. I live fully in that moment. I'm connected to my daughter, to my life. Every night I put my daughter to bed, and it's the same thing. It's book, prayers, kisses, love. And every time when I'm leaving, she's like, "I'll see you tomorrow, Daddy." And she will, every day, for the rest of her life.